welcome everyone to Purpose for Life podcast. I'm your host, Suzanne Roberts, author of It's Deeper Than That and founder of The Great Reconnection. I'm thrilled to have with us today Sophia Laettner Joubert. Did I say that right?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Yay. Whom I met in a writing workshop and felt such a deep connection to her through her presence, her authenticity, her kindness, her beauty and grace. And we've been connected ever since. And I'm so excited for you get to hear from her today. I know that you'll be touched and you'll learn a lot. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so sweet, sweet Suzanne. Thank you. It's wonderful to be with you.
Since I've known you, I've seen many facets of your being, and I think of you as a Renaissance woman, whether it be from gardening to your love for animals and tea, writing, grant reading and writing, to Substack, there's so many more facets to you. And talk to me and talk to us about how you hold all the different parts of your being and what unifies them.
Thank you for that question. I really appreciate being seen as a Renaissance woman is a lovely compliment, and I see you the same way. So I think we're all such complex beings, spirits inhabiting our bodies in this life, and I'm really passionate about allowing myself to freely express my interests and my emotions. And as an adult, have kind of found ways to bring back that childlike wonder that I had as a kid. And so from a young age, was always drawn to writing. And my father taught me guitar. So I've also loved music. I love singing, dancing, expressing, being out in nature. And then my aim with my work is to have my writing be of service and my movement be of service and ways that I can use my body, like out gardening or, tending to the earth. And recently I'm looking into more volunteer opportunities where I can, like plant trees and things like that. So I guess to answer your question, I think the through line is that I love to follow my internal guidance system, follow my heart's desires and my passions, and then receive invitations as well. So I've kind of go about maybe praying to certain things in my world and seeing everything around me with gratitude. I've learned that because when I was growing up or a teenager or in college and going through those developmental years where the brain is still forming and forming my habits and everything, I used to feel tremendous guilt when I wouldn't write some days or wouldn't feel like I was expressing myself. And there was self-loathing and all this negative self-talk happening. And I learned so many modalities for healing that, which is why I also love teaching and sharing about embodiment practices and the healing techniques like that you use and things that I use for, meditation and grounding and healing and basically finding your true center and then following that purpose. But I kind of walk around my life too, like, oh, guitar, remind me to play you later. And the more that I say these little prayers and things, or, oh, this, um, garden call to me or something, I I really do feel that when I send out those prayers, it comes back to me more strongly and things start to be in a flow. So I wasn't planning to go there with this answer, but basically you pour into the things that you love and it gives you so much back as well.
I love what you just said because when I'm listening to you, the things that you love, instead of being self-punitive, if you're not doing them, you're evoking them and responding to the evocation, if that's a word. But, you're signaling joy in a way and becoming in relationship with that joy. And then it becomes like an attractive force that calls you, which is very different than punitive.
Mm-hmm. That's a beautiful way to say it. I definitely agree.
That's powerful. I mean, for our listeners to hear that kind of turnaround, because I think a lot of people have punitive thoughts about if they're not doing this and not doing that instead of inviting joy and
Mhm.
beauty. I mean, one of the things, if you haven't been on Sophia's Substack or watch her, please do, because her videos are absolutely exquisite, whether they're on the beach, moving, or being with a tree, or in the garden, or communicating with your cat. They all they all have an element of grace in them. They all have an element of beauty. And
Mhm.
it feels to me like gratitude or celebration. Would you say that's true?
Definitely. I do love to bring an awareness of nature to my online presence as much as I can because that grounds me so much. And I know it's what I kind of am drawn to when I'm online briefly. And
Mm.
it's such a creative, restorative space. Anytime I might feel fatigued, I just go outside and like you've told the beautiful story in your book about laying down and connecting with the roots of the trees and that energy that is so powerful and so restorative. And so that's part of my reminder to the people that follow me online. I'm like, there's, so much resource available to you and go out and find it and don't be stuck, online in this loop. So I love to share, and I just think nature is some of the most beautiful things that I can share. In terms of design on Substack or online, I did study photography in high school and I
Mm.
loved that and mostly shot portraits of people in nature. And yeah, now what I'm seeking is long walks on the beach or in nature. And I have this goal of owning land and cultivating land of my own in the future and owning a farm and cultivating healthy food for a larger community. So I think that has been on my heart, and that's why I'm really drawn to starting small with my little garden here and connecting with the trees and being outside and feeling that groundedness, and then bringing that into my writing and into how I serve other people because it is a wonderful healing force. So last week, I was speaking at the New Jersey School Counselors Association's Professional Development Day at Keene University, and I mentioned to them the school counselors that they could use with their students emotional freedom technique and tapping and other grounding techniques. Emotional freedom technique was new for the counselors, so I was really glad to teach them something new. But the other grounding techniques they had kind of known and have used before, breathing, the physiological sigh, and gratitude practices. But I reminded them, I was like, do the students know where they are in their development in terms of the neuroscience of their brain? Do they know the polyvagal theory? Do they know that they have this window and threshold for stressors? And do they know how to release those stressors and process them? And so it's really lovely to remind people the power of like grounding and processing your emotions and getting out of this mental space that sometimes we could get trapped in too much. I definitely felt as a teenager that I was in my mind and in my mental a lot in sort of this anxious space. And then when I learned as an adult to ground and release and use these techniques, and really process through and like out of the body. That is why I'm so passionate about sharing and teaching from that viewpoint because I think our minds are so powerful, but our body is such a powerful tool as well, and we have to use them to support each other in tandem and not get like locked in any place of this anxiety that doesn't really serve your highest purpose, you know?
That's beautiful. Thank you. For listeners, we did have Carol look on here before talking about emotional freedom technique. Would you share for our listeners in case they don't know exactly what it is?
Yeah. So, emotional freedom technique is a powerful neuroscience backed healing technique that was developed in the 80s. And now we have science and data supporting to show that it physically reduces cortisol in the body and helps lower stress. But the the way it works is you're tapping on acupressure points and speaking about an emotion to release that motion and let it be processed out of the body. And people feel relief very quickly. I demoed it with two people last week when I was speaking to that group of 60, and the whole room felt it and loved it. And I was just like, it's great when, we actually try things with our body and they work.
Mm.
Like we say, like, go outside, get some fresh air, get your sunlight, do EFT, drink water, but you have to really do the thing, take the action, and then you see the result happen.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate when you were talking about having your dream of land and growing enough food to feed other people and all those things. And yet, instead of waiting for that big thing to happen, you're starting now with what
Mhm.
you can do. And I think that is really crucial for our listeners to understand. Start where you are to build towards your big dream, and it will continue to expand and grow.
Definitely. I agree. And you're magnetizing and magnifying what you desire by focusing on it. And
Hmm.
sometimes those desires shift and change over time, like a lot of mine have. And I just try to flow with it. My vision for my book, like, it's changed two or three times now, but I just keep following the current guidance that I have. It's a lovely process, and that's a way to enjoy the process. And I appreciate what you said as well about gratitude because I do focus on that every morning as another, wonderful practice that has thousands of years of experiential evidence behind gratitude. And now we have science pointing to all these reasons of why gratitude is so beneficial. It increases your happiness, it lowers your cortisol, a gratitude practice just does so much for your mental state as well. And so I start every morning with gratitude as soon as I can. I have a group chat where I text people, like, what are you grateful for? And
Nice.
then, which is so sweet because then people respond and we kind of get to magnify each other's gratitude. So that group text is just dedicated to sharing gratitudes. And I highly recommend that to anyone who wants to start one with their friends. It's a really nice way to kind of keep in touch, but there's never, it's always really high energy and happy and lovely. And then the one thing I consistently post online is the similar, like, good morning. What are you grateful for today? Because that's the way I can be fully consistent. And then if I create more from there, great. But I'm like, at least people are getting this touch of gratitude each day.
And would you say that's on your Substack where you do that?
That's actually on my Instagram
Okay.
story.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that's on my Instagram story. I could consider doing a Substack chat like that, but on Substack, there's not like a 24-hour thing that goes away, and I have not yet
I
gotten to the
see.
point of sending people a message every day on Substack. I do like once a week on Substack.
How does love play a role in your life, and how do you see love?
Oh, yeah, love is so important. So thank you for asking. My movement on Substack is called Step into Love, as you know. And that is my way of kind of combining this physical action of embodiment and taking a step, making a choice to move back into love. And that's the analogy I use for describing how if you step out of love with yourself, or feel like you've stepped out of grace, or maybe you've stepped back into some old habit or old belief, or just into a bad feeling, there are tools to help you step back into that self-love state, back into that state of grace. So that's why I love to use the term step into love. And that all has culminated just through my whole life. I'm 28 years old now. I see love as divinity, everything that is divine, everything that is loving is this God energy, this force of love in our world. So, love is such an inspiring force to me. I like to, like we talk about, try to inhabit and radiate love, give and receive love freely as I'm meant to serve my highest purpose. And so I think love is the most powerful force on earth. And my relationship with love is that I'm really grateful for it. I'm really grateful for the people in my life who demonstrated it to me from a young age, like especially my parents, and the ways that I have also learned to be a source of love and let go of anger, or mostly anger, these emotions that, like fear, where I wasn't showing love.
Mm.
I have learned to let those go quicker, or kind of learn to respond instead of react, and then return to love in a more in a quicker fashion than in the past, where we go through periods of depression or anxiety, like I talked about, and you could feel distant from love for a while. So I love all these tools that help me return to love and find love and seek love.
Why do you think love is the most powerful force on this earth?
I think that I choose to believe it, and I have faith that it is, even though sometimes there's a lot of news that concerns me and makes me worry about other forces. But I love to pray about peace and harmony on earth, and I do believe that love ultimately prevails, whether it be this life, or I feel like eventually people will find contact with the source of love, whether it's after death, or ideally, I hope everyone in life is experiencing love. But I know we go through seasons and difficult times where it can feel, again, distant, but I think love is always there. And so I just know it's a powerful force because I feel that I've had experiences with it. I've read so many stories about people experiencing love, like your beautiful story, and it's restorative. Yeah, love is probably the source of all things. But to give a thorough answer, I guess I believe it for so many reasons because of my background and my present and what I believe about the future.
That's powerful. It's interesting. I recently did um, a free event called From Disconnection to Restoration,
Mm,
and everyone could identify. And this was a range of people, from young people to retired people, high level business owners to at home moms. Everyone could identify, or at home parent, I shouldn't say mom because there was also an at home dad. Everyone could identify the ways that they disconnect, but they couldn't identify very well their signal of yearning or longing to
mm.
return to that love. And that made me sad. Like, how would you say that you have a signal inside of you to want to return to that love so that you seek it within instead of letting it seem distant and far away?
I feel in my body a lot of signals, and I'm sure people can relate. So, some emotions I might feel like my heart is gone out from me. Maybe it's followed someone else and gone away from me. And I'm like, wait, heart, come back. Or as a child, I could feel many times this like little heartbreak sensation. I felt like a bleeding
Mm,
heart. And reading that sort of poetry in scripture and in the books that I read resonated with me. And that's why I love some of those terms that just ring as truth between our ears, like bleeding heart, or heartbroken, or I write about this kind of tense coil in my core as well. And that's a feeling of anxiety and constriction. That's a feeling where I know like something needs to release and I need to return to love. And then the mental, there's some tension can be up there where I feel in my mind, and maybe like a headache will come on and I just feel I need to do something about this. So there's a lot of signals in the body, but also in the energy centers, probably the chakras, where I feel I could feel out of alignment and like it's time to do something, like go outside and do my chakra meditation or move, go on a walk, take those deep breaths, again, do a meditation or write out my emotions and do a prayer and find that supplication to return and asking divinity to support me with easing that feeling and returning to love. And I also believe now from experience that emotions are temporary and those bad
Right.
feelings will go. They will like end. But when you're younger, you think they're going to last forever. And you just think this feeling's here and I'm so scared. And then it turns into this bigger thing of like, this feeling's here and how will I ever get rid of it? And what can I do? And why am I like this? And why am I so bad? And why do I feel so bad? I should feel grateful, you know? And it turns into this bigger tizzy. But now also learning like actually it is easy for me to return to love. It's easy for me to step back into love. It is simple if I choose for it to be for me to let this go or process it. And I know healing is not linear and things come up. They can come up many times, but that's why I like to use the tools and practices consistently so that each time it comes up, it becomes simpler to return to love, like you said, and not make a mountain out of a molehill, but instead focus on the love and the gratitude and follow those things that really do help heal and make you feel better.
Thank you for saying that. I so appreciate your willingness to listen to the signals and then do something because we do have agency and
Mm.
there is power inside of us. We are going to have to wind down for today. I love to ask my guests this question. What do you think the purpose for life is?
Thank you. I think the purpose for life is for each of us to serve our highest purpose and be in right relationship with each other and express love in the ways that you want to express love. I love to express love through writing and relationship. That's what I'm most drawn to. But yeah, living our highest purpose and serving one another in love.
I love that. Thank you. And I believe you live that way. And you're a living example of what you're talking about. Tell us, Sophia, how people can get a hold of you, follow you, engage with you.
So I'm really happy to connect with anyone who also loves this mission or would like to be inspired by me, and also connect with like younger people that I can serve, especially teenagers and young adults who I feel I can relate to and really serve and encourage. On Substack, I write and I share weekly, sometimes twice a week, about the embodiment practices that I write about. I also share about my creative practices. So on Substack, I'm sophialaettnerjoubert.substack.com. It's just my name as it shows here. And then I also share on Instagram and YouTube. And on Instagram and YouTube, it's by.sophiaclaire. That's my middle name. And it's just a little shorter than the Substack handle. I'm really happy to connect and again, share and serve however I can and build this larger movement of stepping into love. So thank you for the opportunity to connect with people.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for being part of this conversation. This is the Purpose for Life podcast, where we listen to people living on purpose in their own unique ways from all walks of life. And if anything resonated with you today, all of our information is in the links. And please follow us so that you can listen to the next amazing person living on purpose. And I am your host, Suzanne Roberts. And until next week, thank you for joining us.